Welcome to part 2 of the worst night on Tremors. Quick side note here, that's the giant light on a crane that gave us the look of moonlight over the whole location. Anyway, there we were, with a big old station wagon that had not sunk into the ground. There had been so much pre-planning, we were all a little flabbergasted, and it took a while before director Ron Underwood said the obvious.
Okay, let's try it again.
From this video angle, the car looked somewhat sunk, but especially from the high camera crane, it barely looked like it had moved at all.
Okay, we will do this again. We're going to raise the car up here.
The car elevator was designed to go much further, but before we could do anything, the effects people had to figure out what was wrong. So I'm going to jump to some other details that made the night even more ironic. For one, someone had thoughtfully ordered a cake to celebrate our last night of shooting. It got a little beat up in transit, but we did serve it at our midnight lunch. Also, earlier in the night, we had honored an old Hollywood tradition and handed out free custom-embroidered jackets to the cast and crew, with our now famously incorrect title. But enough of this levity. The effects people gave us their verdict. Two things had gone wrong. One, the water had caused the whole elevator supporting the car to sink into the ground. Two, the huge volume of vermiculite had mixed with the water and turned into a kind of thick porridge. The fellow who designed this setup said the car was never going to sink into that muck, and in fact, the elevator would probably break if we tried to force it down. Well, at this point, my video cuts to a long time later. After much discussion, we had to get shots of the car going deeper, but we couldn't risk breaking the elevator, so we were going to have to cheat. We had the crew frantically dig all the soggy vermiculite out of the pit so the elevator could move freely. But that meant you could now see the pit, so Ron's dramatic high camera angles were useless.
Here we go for picture. Quiet. And roll camera.
We put all the cameras flat on the ground and piled dirt in front of them to hide the pit.
Ron, take it away. Sorry, and action!
Here's the first take with that new setup. At least here you can see how far the car was supposed to go.
Action!
We shot a bunch of takes, adjusting anything we could. Even then, not everything worked every time.
Hold the big duster. There it goes. Shot of dust. How's the dust? Speeding over there? Yeah. Good. And action!
We kept shooting, but the reality was we were pretty much just getting the same thing over and over, because we could only shoot from ground level. And inevitably, sunrise was approaching. In spite of the stress, some of the crew still tried to keep the mood light, like set dresser Mike here, who had to replace the tentacle marks on the rear window for every take. And the lovely BB Besh continued to do her part over and over. As far as Ron and Brent and I were concerned, at this point, she was pretty much expressing how we all felt.
4:46 now.
The sun kept rising, and we kept desperately trying to come up with any other way to sell this idea. I get to take credit for one of them.
Last minute idea for seeing the car enter dust.
Getting blue here, guys.
Good idea, actually.
Watching your shadows.
My idea was put a piece of plywood under the back of the car, toss vermiculite on it, and let the car smash it. The crew quickly threw that together, and with the sun literally coming up, we got the shot.
Ready?
You'll see less as the car goes down, though.
Ready?
Okay.
Ready?
Yes. Ready,
Roll
Martin?
camera. And me.
Okay, tilt down and the car will cover the hole. Here we go. Ready? And action! Tilt down, down. Cut?
And it's in the movie, all 2 seconds of it. Now the sun was even higher, but we did shoot one last shot. The crew made a rig to simulate the car headlights pointing into the sky. This was how we had always planned to imply that the car went all the way underground.
Tilt down.
Yeah, okay, keep going.
Keep going, keep going.
Okay, and hold it there.
And cover.
Cut?
And that was the very last thing we shot during the main unit production. Adding irony to irony, many of you have probably noticed that the shot was later replaced by a not-so-great one done with miniatures. Ron Underwood remembers that the sky was so bright in the location shot, it just didn't match the other night work. Finally, we followed one last tradition. Champagne was opened and handed around, and this still was taken of 3 very tired guys. It's hanging on my office wall right now. We weren't really as happy as we look in the picture, and I'll be honest, I don't enjoy watching this video even now. But on the plus side, 31 years later, we're still friends, still working, and in fact, trying to get a green light on a new movie. And I'll be back with yet another video, the next one a little more fun.